Hi guys, I wanted to take time to do a video about postnatal anxiety and how I've experienced this and how it's kind of affected the last 3.5 months of having a newborn baby, and kind of just spread some more awareness about it, because when I looked it up, I found it hard to find anything about it, or I've never really heard anyone speak about it before. When I suffered with postnatal anxiety, it came as quite a shock, and I didn't really know that it was a thing. So I kind of wanted to come on here and take time to explain and share my story and kind of things that I'm doing to try and help. So this isn't the first time that I suffered with anxiety, so I kind of just want to go back to my past and how I've suffered with anxiety in the past. I got married and I started my new job, and I was working for maybe about a year or so, maybe a bit less, and I was doing shift work and was absolutely exhausted, and I started getting this sickness every single night. And it would hit maybe 5-6 p.m. in the evening, and I would just feel sick and I couldn't eat and I'd be shaking and all these thoughts would be going through my mind, and sometimes I would vomit and sometimes I wouldn't. I had to take time off work quite a bit, and I didn't really know what was wrong with me, to be honest. I had no idea, and I went to the GP because I thought something was physically wrong. And they mentioned anxiety, and I was like, no, it's definitely not anxiety. You know, there's something physically wrong with me. I don't feel anxious, I feel sick. And then as time went on, I started to recognise that even though my symptoms were feeling sick and not necessarily kind of just feeling tense and panicky, that was actually how anxiety manifests itself to me. And my mum and my sister both get anxiety and both get exactly the same symptoms as well, the nausea and vomiting as well. And so when I kind of realised what it was and I tried to kind of take steps to improve it, one of the things I ended up having to do is quit my job, and I took a month off, and things improved a little bit but not that much, and then I went back part-time, but I didn't do nights, I just did days. And then slowly things began to improve, and I thought, right, that's it. My anxiety was just down to me being really tired, doing shift work, and now I'm out of that and I'm getting over it, and it was fine. Then I fell pregnant with my first child, Miriam, who's now 2.5, and I got kind of low-level anxiety in pregnancy with her, but kind of normal anxiety, I would say. Like, I was kind of worried about giving birth, I was worried about the pain. So then I went on not really getting anxiety, or getting anxiety every now and then, but not really affecting my life because it wasn't very common, or very often. And then I fell pregnant with Heidi, and I assumed that when I had her I'd feel the same happiness and joy that I felt with Miriam, but that didn't happen. Actually, when I had her, I got some low mood and some kind of just feeling kind of blank and not sad, but just nothing, and I was kind of teary, but I knew being teary was normal, and I just thought, well, it's the baby blues. Then 2 weeks passed, and then I was like, okay, this is kind of low mood because the baby blues only last the 2 weeks. Anything above that should be seen by the GP, but I wasn't particularly feeling particularly low or depressed. However, I had really high level anxiety basically from the day she was born, and I was feeling sick and shaky and tense and just felt really awful. And I just thought maybe it's going to last a couple of weeks and then it'll pass, and it didn't pass, and it carried on every day, and it made it really hard for me to look after my kids because I felt unwell, I felt scared, I felt worried, I felt kind of physically really weak and vulnerable, and I just felt like, actually, I need to talk about this, and I need help, and I need support. So I reached out to one of my friends who suffered with postnatal depression and spoke to her about her mental health, and I also reached out to my GP and first my health visitor, then my GP. and they kind of got me in contact with IAPT, which is a service, what does it stand for? Improving Access to Psychological Therapies. I had a phone consultation with them, and that lasted, it was supposed to last 45 minutes. Ended up being on the phone for an hour and a half, and I kind of just really explained everything that was going on to them, how I was feeling. And one of the things that I really like about talking to kind of psychologists and people like that is that you don't really need to explain anything in great detail, because they just get it. Like, where I have to explain to friends and family exactly how I'm feeling and how one worry will make me feel and how my anxiety feels and how my anxiety manifests itself. You know, I'll say one little snippet to a psychotherapist and they're like, oh, like this, and they just completely get it. They've seen it before, they understand. I don't have to waste so much energy and time explaining, because they know what they're talking about. It was really great and really helpful. And then so I was referred to IAPT for some kind of CBT talking therapy, and I had my first session 2 weeks ago. So what's happening at the moment is that I'm having 6 sessions in total, and it's one every other week. So I've had the one session, which was great, and they kind of just went through my assessment that I had over the phone there and just tried to help me understand, they tried to understand what exactly I needed help with and what bothered me most about my anxiety, and they kind of explained anxiety to me, and kind of we're just going to build on that every 2 weeks. So for me, one of the big things that really bothers me with my anxiety is how it physically makes me feel. Like I was saying, I don't really feel just tense and worried, even though I do like get tense and sweaty and hot and all those kind of feelings that are normally associated with anxiety, but I also get feel really nauseous and sick, and sometimes will vomit. And in talking to my therapist about that, it seems like that is actually a panic attack, which really surprised me, because I have had panic attacks before, but the kind where you feel like you can't breathe and you're gasping for breath, and that kind of panic attack, and that's what I associated panic attacks as. But she was saying that actually if it's getting to the point where I'm vomiting, that is a panic attack. So I found that really interesting, and it's kind of helped me make sense a bit more about what's going on with me physically. And then so in my first session, she's given me some homework to do, which was to identify what exactly I'm worrying about. So for me, a lot of my worry is around health, and I get a lot of health anxiety. So what if I get cancer? What if I die? What if I get sick? And some of it is kind of not extremely like if I get deathly sick, but what if I get a headache and I can't look after the children? What if I get a vomiting bug and find it really hard to have both the children? And then sometimes it's what if I get cancer and die? What if I have a brain tumour? What if I kind of go to a doctor and they find something really seriously wrong with me? And things like that. It's not always health anxiety, but I found that in doing this exercise where I'm trying to identify the situation I'm in and the worry I'm getting, I realised that a lot of my worry is to do with health and being physically well, and also being able to look after the kids. And that's where I kind of draw a distinction between what's normal and what isn't normal. So, for example, with Heidi, my youngest baby, I worry about her dying in her sleep. That's a normal worry that most parents get. I worry about both my kids getting sick. That again is a normal worry that most parents get. And so there's just this difference between what is classed as just normal worrying, which doesn't feel like anxiety, and actual anxiety, which feels crushing and kind of debilitating and like it's taken over your whole head. And because I get this physical symptom of feeling nauseous and sick, it makes it even worse, because I feel like I don't want to do certain things because I'm going to be sick or I'm going to feel sick. And then you feel like, how can I look after, like, so hard to look after kids when you yourself aren't feeling well. But I'm not feeling well because I'm actually ill. I'm not feeling well because of anxiety. And when that's day in, day out, it's just exhausting and debilitating and crushing. And it's been really, really tough. It's got better since I have been getting more sleep. There was a time where Heidi was sleeping through the night, then she's been ill recently, so she's gone back to kind of being up in the night a bit more. But when she's sleeping through the night, I find my anxiety is far less. So it is still to do with kind of physical things like getting enough sleep. But I kind of just want to tackle the things in my mind and what I'm worrying about and how to stop that worry and how to stop those thoughts and rein them in so I don't feel these physical symptoms. So basically what my therapist was saying to me is that we don't want to just deal with the physical symptoms without dealing with the worry, because that's not going to work. We need to deal with the worry to stop the physical symptoms. So I'm just trying to be really honest and open with her, because sometimes when I talk about what I'm worrying about, I feel so stupid, like it's almost embarrassing, like what I'm worrying about, like saying, oh, I'm worried that I have a brain tumour or something. It just sounds so ridiculous, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but the point is, if I'm honest with her, she can help me overcome those things. And this is the annoying thing about anxiety. I know that it's ridiculous. I know there's no need to worry. I know, a lot of people that don't really get anxiety are like, why are you worried about that? Or why, like, you don't need to, there's nothing to worry about, sort of, going out there or being with that person, nothing's going to happen, no one's going to judge you. And I know that in my mind, but I can't get from knowing that to not worrying or not feeling anxious about it. And that's really what I want to do. I want to go back to a place, not necessarily that I don't have any anxiety, although that would be great, but back to a place where my anxiety is less frequent and just manageable, and I can just enjoy the newborn stage, enjoy time with my kids, and not have this anxiety pressing on me every day, if not most days. So this video was a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I hope that kind of helps you understand how I'm feeling. I hope that some of you can relate to how I'm feeling and it might be helpful for you. If you want me to, I can do an update at the end of my therapy or in the middle of my therapy, or just whenever I feel like something comes up that's helpful. But I'll only do that if you want me to. I won't speak about anxiety again if that's not something that interests people. But if it is, then comment below, and I'll be sure to do that video in a couple of months when my therapy ends, just about whether it was helpful and the kind of techniques that they gave me and things like that to maybe help some of you. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. I really hope I haven't missed anything. But well done if you got to the end of this video, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.